Welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. This is the podcast where we like to keep you up to date with all the anime news. I'm one of your hosts, Zane, Taichou, captain when it comes to anime recommendations. And as always, I'm joined by not always, last time you were off ill. My besto friend's back, ladies and gentlemen, and NBs. Susu Day.
It's me. I'm back. Hey.
How you feeling, buddy?
Much better. After getting several migraines in a row, I was less than human. So I do apologize for my absence last time.
You were definitely missed. But hopefully I managed to carry one episode.
Did you sit and make hot takes to yourself?
A little bit. It's the most painful thing in the world is like editing yourself. I've come to learn is just like listen to yourself ramble for 20 to 30 minutes. And then you're like, help me, because I can't listen to myself. So thank you to everyone who does listen to me, especially on my solo episode. Thank you for the support and stuff. It's really appreciated. But yeah, don't ever leave me.
I won't. Don't worry. I mean, I'll never get the affirmations that I get from you by, the day that you told me that the other podcast was no longer continuing, but this one was. I was like, I'm locked in now.
Like went full Kendrick.
I was like, this is it now. I'm here for it.
I'm in for the long haul.
Yeah.
Excellent. Before we get into all of the Josuke news, we got to catch up. How are you finding Sakamoto Days? How are you finding Solo Leveling? Anything else you've been watching?
So, gosh, what am I watching? So, Sakamoto Days.
Mm-hmm.
I have only watched like the first 2 episodes. In fact, I think very unprofessional of me. I think I fell asleep during the second episode because I watched it quite late at night. Mm-hmm. First episode, absolutely loved it. I was like, usually you'll find that I would have probably read the manga before I've watched an anime, but again, like with Free Ren, this was very much the same in that like I've never touched the manga, so I don't actually know what the story was. So imagine my surprise in those opening minutes where you find out actually he's not like an old retired hitman. He's actually just a retired hitman. He's literally like still in his best years. He's just got married, fell in love, got married, and let himself go and stuff.
Gained a bit of weight. It's funny you should mention that because it feels like I guess this is kind of like the readership base as well, kind of showing, and probably us a little bit as well, the fact that there's main characters now that aren't these 14, 16-year-old boys fighting ghouls and soul societies and pirate lords and stuff. And now there's these 30-something, who live these mundane lives but also have like kick-ass skills when it comes to
much more relatable. It's much more relatable when you see someone who's like, my back is aching.
Yeah.
And I do like that. Stuff. I do like that a lot. I like the fact that like, it's like, oh, actually, no, I can 100% more easily relate to this character than I can to this like high schooler.
Yeah.
I think in the weirdest way, like tying this back to my recent, because I as you might have heard, I recently recorded an episode of MangaTak, our good friend over there, and we were talking about a shoujo manga, and I think I came off having not really enjoyed it. And I think one of the reasons that I gave was like, it's not really written for me, and stuff like that. And like, I was like, I'm in a hugely different position in my life than the characters are. And as a result, it's hard to understand why the characters act the way that they do sometimes. And I think that can be applied to a lot of like even the shonen stuff these days. It's like, actually, no, I think that, reasonably, they could have probably dealt with this by, talking it out first and stuff like that. And it's like, but in like Sakamoto Days, I think that there's a little bit more to relate to. And like, you're like, okay, no, this is just he's just living a happy little life.
Yeah.
No stress. He's just trying to protect his family. Yeah.
But he's still got that dog in him.
Still got a dog in him. But
When
yeah,
that-
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it so far. I need to make some time to properly catch up. But you know, I've been quite busy of late, unfortunately, and as a result, I've not had much time for anime, which is a shame because I co-host a podcast about it. Solo Leveling, I have been keeping up with them. That's my Sunday morning. Like I get up and I'll go downstairs, I'll get a tea and I'll sit and watch the latest episode. I'm really enjoying so far. I think the pace of season 2 is better than the pace of season 1.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like hit its stride. I keep seeing articles about which I'm not really entertaining, which are like, oh, they've already like flubbed the ball because they cut out this one incredible bit of like character development for the character, and like the only thing I can think of is that it's like his second grading, and I'm like, that was not a big deal. Like, and I think that they'll still do it. It just might come like they might have just switched the order around.
Yeah.
So, kind of like that, but I'm really enjoying so far. And like I said to you after I watched it last week, I think the next episode is the big Shadow Soldier like arise moment. This is gonna be this is him on the world entering the world stage. This is gonna be people knowing about him.
It definitely feels like that, and again, I haven't fully read the manhwa, so it's already ahead of me of where I was reading up to. But I am kind of looking forward to it, and I kind of like the idea now that we're stopping this game of being a secret, you know, E rank. Because that could only last so long, right? In front of all these people. Like, if he's suddenly... Also, I've noticed as well, slight tangent, he always saves, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it echoes back to the first double dungeon, but it feels like he's always got a soft spot for the healer in the group. And like anytime he sees them in kind of like distress or something, it's like, oh, this is the moment where he shifts gears, like where he stops pretending and like.
I don't think it's ever explicitly said, but I think I do kind of I see what you're saying there. But yeah, I just like you're completely right. It's like that. This is the point in the story where it's like there's no, even as a character, as part of his like character story, it's kind of like this is the point where he's realized I can't continue to grow. If I continue to hide, because I will not get access to the places. I need to get into those high EXP dungeons, you know?
Yeah. I love the introduction of a red gate as well. I was like, this is... Because again, it's just kind of like shifting things ever so slightly. Not to the point where it's completely different, but again, it was just kind of like, oh, I like this kind of...
Yeah, the idea that
still
there's one you
learning
can
new
enter,
things.
and there's like, well, no, you're not leaving until it's done.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I'm really enjoying it. I imagine that there are a load of purists out there who are like, no, the manhwa they did this so much better. But it's like I think that people just put too many things on too high a pedestal, and as a result, nothing can ever compare to it, and that's why people end up disappointed in stuff.
Agreed.
So just got to take what you can get, guys. It's like we're not like doing like PNG leveling right now.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
The uproar would be terrible.
Honestly, guys, think about every single like anime that you've watched in the last like 5 years that you thought had a promising start, but then ended up not being great. And then think about what happened to Blue Lock, and then reassess whether or not it was actually as bad as you think it was.
I have to admit, I feel like Blue Lock, its last like 2 episodes like really turned things around.
Well, that was the budget, and you had like all online. You just had people who were like, "Guys, it's coming! It's coming!"
I think it was me.
We just got to be patient. We got to be patient. Just give it one more episode. It's coming. It's coming, guys. It's fine.
There's a lot of hopeful wishing with that. I was like,
honestly, I bet as soon as those last 2 episodes aired, you were like, "We are so back, boys! We are back!"
Absolute cinema. I think that's what I tweeted.
You're just like
cinema.
You're talking to people about it. It's like, oh yeah, well, you know, season 1's great. Season 2, if you just like watch 1, 2, and then maybe read a summary of like the next 8 episodes, and then tune back in, it's the best anime you'll ever watch.
Watch the episode when they sub Borrow in and then just jump to the end.
just cut it all out. It's like you know how people like speedrun animes by like cutting out the filler.
Mm-hmm.
Like season 2 of Blue Lock, I think the Blue Lock community is like, no, this portion of episodes, it's filler. You do not need to watch it. I'll tell you what happened. They played football. They locked in, and then some people got locked out.
Yeah, you can watch a PowerPoint of it, or I'll just tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Should we get on with the show?
Let's get back to business.
Let's do it. Undisputed Anime, as I mentioned before, is listened to all over the world, but we want you to be part of the show. Be sure to leave comments, star ratings, reviews. It will help us out in a big, bad way. Today, we have got, I think it's 6. I should have counted this really. 6 news items, and we will go into what we call Oi Josuke, which is where we go through all these news items and keep you up to date of everything that's happening in the anime space. Yo, Josuke! Sisu Day, our main headline today. Now I want you to have a think of what may have been the number 1 spot here. A certain anime beats Solo Leveling and more to be the most in-demand anime series of 2024. This comes from Anime Corner. I'll read the little bit here. Parrot Analytics revealed that X Anime was the most in-demand anime series of 2024, beating fellow nominees Solo Leveling, Demon Slayer, One Piece, and Free Ren to secure the accolade. What do you think that number 1 anime was?
Part of me wants to say something obvious, like DBZ Daima or something like that, but I don't think it is. I think it's going to be really out of left field for me. What is it? What is it? I couldn't even tell you.
Any guesses at all? Just roll the dice on anything. 2024.
Roll the dice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, it's not the final part of Attack on Titan, is it?
I wouldn't have been surprised.
The final attack 2.3. No, mate, I honestly have no idea. What is it?
My Hero Academia Season 7
really?
was the most in-demand anime series.
So I'm really behind on the anime. Mm-hmm. Like I watched like the first like 4 seasons, and then I kind of like I don't know why I didn't continue watching because I was really enjoying myself. Mm-hmm. Is this supposed to be the final? The final
season will be this year. Season 7 is
the season leading up to it. It's like when Deku had his dark arc where he was doing his anti-hero thing. Is that right?
I want to say that might have been last season. This season was all the fight with All For One, Shigaraki. You know, when the heroes divide the villains into certain areas. It's basically the start of the war. And yeah, you see Todoroki go up against Dabi, and the season ends with All Might. Spoilers, by the way. Puts on the armor and fights.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then has his fight.
I can understand why it would be up there. Like, regardless of what you say about the fandom, My Hero Academia as a whole is, really good.
Yeah.
And arguably some of the best stuff that happens in it are in those final 2, will be in those final 2 seasons. Because like this is like the culmination of everything. This is like the culmination of the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And stuff. This is like, and we're basically in the Avengers Endgame part of My Hero Academia at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely feels that way as well. Because again, all the stops are being pulled out, if you know what I mean, and all the secrets are being unveiled. Yeah. Things like terrible with names. Gravity Girl versus there's Ochoku and what's her name? The girl who likes the blood. You know who I mean.
Toda? I literally have just completely blanked on name.
Yeah, same. But yeah, that was a huge highlight in the season just gone.
It's Toga.
Yeah, perfect.
Nico Toga.
But yeah, it was a good season. I think there needs to be a conversation maybe in the future about My Hero, like over the last 10 years, again, this is me just speaking off the top of my head. But are we getting to the stage where My Hero could be considered like this, or the last generation's Naruto? Because I feel like the merchandise, the impact, like
The
bringing
fandoms.
comic books, the fandoms, not only the fandoms, but bringing in a new audience like comic book fans into My Hero. Like, for example, there was, I think it was one of the stories I had here, actually. I was saving it for Chibi News, but My Hero Academia collaborates with Captain America Brave New World in a new illustration, and there's a promo video as well where they're constantly using Hawks and Falcon Captain America as like a, you know what I mean, like a comparison. Like they're like, look at Hawks fly, now look at Sam Wilson fly. Do you know what I mean? I'll send it to you later. But again, it's that kind of collaboration of kind of showing, like pulling an audience in, I think.
I think you could be right, to be fair. I mean, there's always going to be naysayers who will disagree when something about how popular something gets. Mm-hmm. Especially people who have been here since the original, like, kind of massive series.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of unwillingness to suggest that, like, anything could measure up. But I definitely think that, like, My Hero Academia has done a huge amount to bring people in. It's like, looking back on it, it really is. It's a great entry series into manga, because it's like there's a lot of there's internet.
Sure. Yeah.
Stuff, and I think that makes it a lot more accessible for, like you said, for like comic book fans to just like to get into it. People who like their superhero comics and stuff. There's obviously, like, you know, references get made all the time in My Hero Academia to actual, like, Marvel and like DC and stuff.
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely agree with that idea.
Absolutely. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. Are you surprised My Hero was the most in-demand anime? We'd love to know. Because again, crazy to think Free-Ren Solo Leveling was so huge. And of course, Demon Slayer always does huge numbers as well. So yeah, really surprised with that one. In other news, Pokemon, talking of popular, Pokemon have announced that they will be releasing, I believe it's a movie. They haven't really confirmed if it's a movie or a mini-series, OVA, whatever. But Pokemon Dragonite and the Postman will officially release on Pokemon Day, which is February 27th, 2025.
So just hearing that sounds more to me like, you know what they did with the Netflix series?
Pokemon Concierge?
Yeah, sounds like that sort of story.
Yeah.
It sounds like it would be a cute, like, one-off piece that could be done in like a really unique way.
Well, talking of a unique way, the animation studio behind it is called Comics Wave Films. So possibly more of a film, but you may recognize their works from Your Name, Weathering with You, and Suzume.
Okay.
So a big studio is doing a Pokemon movie, or again, a mini-series about Dragonite and a Postman.
I mean, I'm looking at the like splash art for it, like the promotional artwork for it, and it looks beautiful.
It looks incredible. And it's going straight to YouTube as well. It's not going to any major streaming platform. It's going to be on YouTube.
Is it like linked to the current series, or is it a brand new? Okay. Interesting. Do you love a Dragonite?
And oddly, I feel it's kind of like a bit of nostalgia, because I couldn't help but think of the Dragonite in Pokemon the first movie that delivers Ash the invite to the Mewtwo arena.
Oh yeah, was that Dragonite? Sorry, it's been so long.
These are the strange things that I remember and think about.
I'm googling it. I'm googling it because I'm like, oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? He ruined the picnic. God, it's been so long. Like Pokemon, I think Pokemon the first movie was like the first movie that I went to the first time I ever went to the cinema on my own, and I had to get dropped off by my stepdad. Like he
really
dropped me off, and like, goosebumps. Ash getting turned to stone, the tears of Pokemon being magic, Mewtwo having an existential crisis, and then a revelation.
Exactly.
And then what a Chad move, wiping everyone's memories of it ever happening.
And then just flying off with
all the clones and Mew.
Clones, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the reason I remember it so vividly is because it was the first time I'd seen Dragonite like animated.
I suppose, yeah, because in the original series there is a whole episode about a Dragonite, but it's the one where they go to the lighthouse and it's really foggy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You see the silhouette of a really big Dragonite out in the mists, but you never actually see Dragonite.
Yeah.
So you don't actually see Dragonite until the end of the
Pokemon
Orange
League?
It's not even the Pokemon League. I think it's the Orange League, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Because I was trying to think, is Vance in it at some point with his dragon obsession? Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't until the end of the Orange League that you actually, because there's Pikachu fighting a Dragonite. He gets inside his mouth. Remember, he climbs inside of the Dragonite's mouth, electrocutes it from within.
What is Ash teaching those Pokemon?
To be fair, I could actually be thinking about the Pokemon Adventures graphic novel or the comics. That might be what I'm thinking about there.
Oh, Pokemon Adventures, I love that.
Yeah.
Anywho, there could be a movie. Either way, it's coming out on February 27th on YouTube with a great studio behind it. And I'm looking forward to this one. So let us know if you'll be checking this one out.
Sounds fun.
In less exciting news, Bandai Namco Filmworks have signed an agreement to co-finance the first ever live-action Gundam film, which will be directed and written by Jim Mickle.
Is that right?
How do we feel about a live-action Gundam?
I think it will be very difficult to get right.
Yeah.
I think... Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Here's my unabashed thoughts of this. I think if they go down it with the intent to make it a Western hit, it'll flop. If it remains as something if they treat it like they treat, you do a Death Note movie, if you treat it like an anime to cinema film that they do within Japan, I think it'll be hugely popular. Because we've seen stuff with giant robots and stuff. And I think that when we talked about it before, I just think that when you see a live action adaptation made within Japan, even if by some standards it could be considered bad or cheesy, I find it so easy to overlook that stuff. But it's when the West tried to do it, it's there has to be this hyper realism, and it's it becomes the cheesiness of us is gone entirely, and I think that itself kind of makes it a bit boring or uninteresting.
Yeah.
So I guess I would honestly love to see this be done as done well. But I don't want them to pander to the West when they do it. I'd rather than just we've seen some great Sentai shows and whatnot, and they've got some pretty interesting effects that they've used there to make giant creature battles and giant great. So I don't want them to overthink it and try and CGI in giant robots and try and make them look as realistic as possible.
I am at a crossroads with this. I am kind of a part of me is this could be fantastic. Gundam has a history of being complex war movies, things both the Academy loves and, movie critics love a good war movie. Especially, Gundam at the center of it is children soldiers and political agendas and everything. I don't know how you're going to squeeze that down into a 2-hour movie, maybe an hour and something. I'm not going to say it's impossible because, again, there's definitely examples out there. But to me, the other argument to this is that there's only one great case that I can think of, which is Pacific Rim, which is kind of a Gundam movie. it's a bit cheesy, but it's the closest we've ever got to like a real good kaiju mech movie. Second one, not so great. Transformers, you could, but again, they're Michael Bay movies, so they're like their own flavour.
It's like, it's really difficult because like what you saying Pacific Rim, I was like, yeah, actually, you know, Pacific Rim was great. But I'm like, but that was all still very terrestrial and stuff like that. Yeah. Gundam at its heart is space battles. And stuff. It's like getting that right that's where I think that it's going to be the hardest to get it right. I mean, the argument could be made that a Gundam film could actually focus more on the ground and focus more on the people rather than the battles. Like, but I don't think that, like, for their first outing into live action, I cannot see them going down a route where they wouldn't be wanting to make the Gundams themselves the primary focus.
Yeah. Because there's so much merchandise off that as well, right? Like the Gunpla, the model kits, the toys that could be made from it, you know, especially if it's like, we've already seen that Netflix had like their own version of a Gundam series and they launched their own Gunpla series based off that. And again, if there's going to be a live movie version, I imagine they'll be doing the same thing. But
it's difficult. It's really difficult because you want them to honor it. But at the same time, he's like, oh.
They just need to do the hero where he, from Gundam Wing, where he gets invited to the birthday party and he just tears it in front of her face and
honestly,
dramatically says
guess,
no.
I guess I'd be interested to see if they were going to be trying to adapt an existing storyline or whether they're going to try a new storyline.
Yeah.
So, because like historically, Gundam's got some great storylines.
Oh yeah.
Which, and I imagine that many of them could be like stripped down to a movie.
Yeah. With good pacing, you could probably. I don't know about Gundam Wing, but Witch from Mercury, I think you could probably cut down into a movie. I think Iron-Blooded Orphans, possibly, especially the first season, you could squeeze into a movie. So, yeah, I can see what you mean.
Guess time will tell, and we'll report about it right here, right on the Undisputed Anime Podcast.
100%. In other news, there's also news of a live-action Bakugan. I don't know if you remember the little sort of circular toys that you throw and they pop out.
You mean Orb Beyblade?
I'm surprised it wasn't Beyblade, honestly. The resurgence of the Beyblade at the moment is amazing. But
Bakugan was one of those I never got into it. It was already like, I was already like cusping on the age range of who it was for at that point. But I was like, it just seems like I've seen so many like Yu-Gi-Ohs, I've seen so many like Beyblades at this point, like
Duel Monsters and
it's kind of like, okay, what is the next toy that gets an anime franchise? And it's like Bakugan. Bakugan is like these balls that you throw and they pop up and they're like very rudimentary, like shaped like monsters and stuff. And then when you saw the anime and it's like, oh, they do like kind of a Yu-Gi-Oh style, like kind of like hollow battlefield, don't they?
Yeah. I'll read the article. A live action Bakugan Hollywood movie is in development. Brad Payton, who is known for Rampage and Journey 2, is writing, directing, and producing the film.
Is he also funding the whole thing himself as well?
Well, here's a crazy thought I had. Those are movies, I'm pretty sure The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, was in Journey 2. I could be wrong, but I know he's in Rampage. So part of me is like, do we get to see Dwayne throw some Bakugan in this?
I would love it. I think the only time I'll be fine with this movie is if they make it so that it's still a story that's focused around like these like preteens playing this game, but they actually make it so that all the preteens are cast as like the actors that have been cast are all like action movie like stars. Like I'm talking like Expendables or like Fast and Furious and stuff like that.
Okay.
So you're you have a Dwayne the Rock Johnson playing this like 12-year-old. He's like backwards calf. Just make them all like super like hench and like.
They should do that. If we ever get another Pokemon movie, they should do that with the Elite Four. Like, have him as Bruno. And then you get, like, a Ryan Gosling as Vance with all of his dragons and stuff.
Please do. Please do.
Or even with Beyblade. You'd get, like, adults, wouldn't you? Every now and again, like...
Yeah.
With ridiculous builds.
I think that's why some of these shows make me laugh so much, and why I think that they're fun to watch sometimes, is that like you've got these kids who are like, this is a game that they're playing and stuff like that, and then the game ends up being, oh no, it's tied into an actual real world like government plot, and then like you find these like 12-year-olds going up against like high ranking like government officials who are trying to use the power of the heart of the cards to like take over the world and enter the shadow realm and stuff.
Yeah, and use their money and influence to fund their crazy ideas.
It's like the idea, like honestly, idea of Seto Kaiba is phenomenal to me, because he is a guy, he's so rich, he's got so much influence, and he's gotten all that by being an absolute card bastard. Like he's just like, he's made his whole personality Blue Eyes White Dragon, and he's built this whole empire just so he can get like all of the Blue Eyes White Dragons.
It makes me... I was thinking more about Pegasus. I was kind of like, why go to such lengths to not only create a tournament to get all of these, like, what are they called? The mystical pieces?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, why don't you just go round to their houses and be like, how much for your necklace?
Yeah, it's like, I want the Millennium items, guys. They're going to help me do some straight evil stuff. But,
Mind games.
Evil's like a perspective thing, I guess. So there's no doubt that like the Pegasus thought that what he was doing was for the good of the world.
I'm sure he crossed his mind when he pulled the soul out of someone's granddad. Like,
yeah, but then that one guy came along and like pulled his eye out, and that was like, pretty fun. Stole that Millennium Eye right out of his skull. Spoiler alert, by the way. Spoilers
I'm sure
for the show that is like over 20 years old.
I'm really intrigued to read the manga version, because I hear all these like stories about how it started off as like a horror manga and then eventually shifted due to the popularity of the cards and stuff.
Honestly, you'll never not be able to read Joey as having that like Boston accent.
Yeah. God bless Joey.
What are you gonna do, Yuke?
I'm trying to play the cards here.
Classic.
Amazing. So that is our major headlines, but for all the smaller news, the tiny little news segment we like to call Chibi News, where we just run you through just some little bits and pieces to keep you updated on. Kicking things off, there is a leak of a Jujutsu Kaisen Fortnite collab.
Didn't they already do a Jujutsu Kaisen Fortnite collab?
I think so.
Isn't Gojo already in the game?
I feel like I've seen that. But these include Mahito, Sukuna, and Toji.
Honestly, that is the easiest money that they'll ever make by putting Sukuna in there, because all they need to do is to reskin the Yuji.
Yeah, and just give him some new emotes. So it's the Sukuna that resides inside of Yuji, with the gown and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, and then...
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing it here. The
version of Toji is the one where he has the jumper, where it's that whole segment of what's the quote? He who has cast out the family burden.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what the quote is. But it's not even a leak anymore, I don't think.
Oh, they've actually dropped it.
Well, there's an actual X post which says the King of Curses, Ryoma Sukuna, has incarnated in Fortnite. Get your fingered hands on the Jujutsu Kaisen villains, and then it listed there's a little trailer showing it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's loud. Oh, and it's like Black Eye Toji as well.
Yeah.
Mahito can do body shifting. Sukuna has his shrine on his back, and he can do his like fire arrow. Gosh, what a treat. Well, as the hugely popular franchise Fortnite continues to bastardize everything that we know and love in the world, I guess the world keeps spinning, and we persist.
Exactly, we keep on living. In other chibi news, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime anime movie is officially coming to theaters on February 2026.
Fun.
The anime season 4 has been officially announced as well. I think it's for that year of 2026. There is a visual, but it's of Rimuru underwater, so I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of sea base story.
Interesting.
I did see that Fuse, the author of the light novel, said that they aiming to get the last book done this year.
So I saw.
I think that means it will be book number 23 or something.
To be fair, I'm very so when I'm like on socials, I very regularly see like shorts that come up and it's like, oh, like how is it the Rimuru, and it's like Dragon God Rimuru and stuff like that, and it's like I'm up to date on the manga and I'm up to date like, and I'm not up to date on the anime, but I'm up to date on the manga. It's like, and then I always forget that like the light novels are way ahead. Everything else, so it's like, oh wow, this is like, okay, thanks for that.
I think I might have sent you one or two as well, because even I was like, who's this person they're talking about? And then I just fall into like a rabbit hole of like, I'm spoiling stuff for myself that I have no idea what it means. There is a guy on TikTok, and I should remember his name because I always watch a lot of his videos on That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Slime. And it's one of those things that I didn't know, and now I've learned something. I'm kind of like, I kind of wish I didn't know. But he talked about Dark Empress Shion, and I was like, oh, that's like a form I've never heard of. Why have I never heard of Dark Empress Shion? Like, and you know, there was like animated clips and stuff, and I was like, so I scrolled through his account and I learned that Dark Empress Shion was like in one of the OVAs, and it's. Do you know much of this form?
No, I haven't watched any of the OVAs.
So Dark Empress Shion is, how do I explain? It's kind of comes off the back of Shion going through mating season and finding men more attractive than usually.
Okay.
That's as much as PG I can say. Are you Googling them right now?
Yeah,
you look like you're Googling.
Just...
Are you in incognito mode?
Purple. I got purple Empress Shion.
That's the one. Yeah, and it's a full like purple outfit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Fine. Fine. It is what it is, you know. But then and now I went down that rabbit hole, and now I'm like seeing this other thing that's coming up, saying like not even related to what we're talking about. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. So, you know, it always happens on Anime News Network. I go on there, and I'm like, oh, then like there's a post that's like, oh, well, that sounds really interesting. How does Reborn as a space mercenary sounds to you?
I did see that one. Yeah,
I woke up piloting the strongest starship. It's going to be another harem, isn't it? It's going to be harem in space.
It feels like it. Just from the artwork, I was like...
Space elves and guns and space. It'll never measure up to Space Dandy, who is a dandy in space.
This is true. Space Dandy is...
Star Driver.
I finished Darling in the Franxx last week. I was like, it's been 7 years. I don't think I finished it when it was airing. I'll definitely, it's time. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was incredible. But I feel like it's no Star Driver.
No, absolutely. It's one of those things. I think it got a really bad rep because it's so heavy on the fan service. But I think overall, it's another story of like children soldiers being sent to die, and then everything happens where it's like that paradigm shifts very suddenly, And all of a sudden, like, all of those child soldiers are like, then it's like, how do we live not being that? And how do we live now? The majority of the adults are not present anymore.
Yeah.
Stuff is like all really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I also think the ending was really nice as well, where you get the huge time skip, and whatnot, and you're like, another life, they would have been happy.
Yeah. The ending felt very. I think I text you this, but it felt very Gurren Lagann coded.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you there. It's like kind of very, at the end of the day, everyone lives happily ever after, except the actual main hero or heroes and stuff like that. Because that's I've always seen that as like a very iconic moment in anime. Is like when you get to the very end of season 2 of Gurren Lagann, and like Mia obviously dies, she passes away, or she becomes like stardust or whatever. I can't remember exactly what happens after they get married, and then Simon is just like, he gives the drill bit to his protege. He pulls on the cloak and he leaves, and it turns out that he's been the one telling the story the whole time. He's just this old guy, and he gets doesn't he, like, he bust out that line where he's like talking to the kids, he's telling stories to his kids, and he's like saying like how like all the stars in the sky are our friends or something like that, and that's when you realize that's him. That's him.
I think you see like the little mole as well, like
his Buddha comes out of his like, cloak. He's not Asia Day and stuff, but you like realize, oh no, it's him, and you see the spiral in his eye and stuff. It's like really, especially this sort of time of year, I think it's a good time to rewatch Gurren Lagann, especially for people like you and me. We got a lot of emotional like real life stuff tied up in Gurren Lagann, I think.
Yeah, and like it's just come back to Netflix as well. And to be fair, something I've never done is watched it. I know. Something I've never done is watch the dub version, which I know a lot of people are huge fans of, because I'm pretty sure Yuri, who does the voice for Sasuke and Spider-Man, PS4, I'm pretty sure he's Simone.
Oh, Yuri. Yuri, what
is it? Low-4?
Low-4, yeah. I always want to say Plazeski because I always think of Yuri from Yuri on Ice.
Yeah.
But it's Yuri Lopentals. Something like that. I'm good. Yuri. Lowenfell. Yeah.
Phenomenal voice actor. So yeah, the fact like he is Simone in it is like no-brainer. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Last bit of chibi news. Huh? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch out of this.
Last bit of chibi news. It has been 3 years this week. Demon Slayer and AOT broke the internet. I don't know if you remember, but both anime dropped what was considered their best episodes on the same day. So Demon Slayer, it was the iconic fight between the sound Hashira Tengen Yuzi against the demon, and it was the episode where Eren unlocked everyone's minds and was just kind of like, I'm going for it. I've got the titles actually, I should say. So Demon Slayer Entertainment District Arc episode 10, Never Give Up, and Attack on Titan episode 80, From You 2000 Years Ago, aired on the same day. Both episodes sit side by side on IMDb with a rating of 9.7 out of 10.
I can speak for Demon Slayer. That was an incredible episode. Absolutely banging.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love your morose anti-hero suddenly going, I've decided to choose violence. It's the only option.
Yeah, no matter what you were doing, you're just suddenly in like this space, sand with like a energy tree, and it was like, everyone, I'm gonna kill everyone.
Honestly, he would have done great in the Blue Lock program. Like the guy overseeing the Blue Lock program would have been like absolutely thrilled to see someone lock in so hard on like.
It's funny you should say that, because Rin is supposed to be inspired by Eren. That's why he's got like eyelashes, like long eyelashes and big eyes, like big green eyes, I think.
There we go. There we go, guys. You heard it here first.
He's there. He's definitely there.
That's what he went on to do in his like other life.
Reincarnated.
That time I got reincarnated into a football anime.
I was Eren Yeager in my past life and I reincarnated as a footballer. It's a bit like that Yamcha manga. That time I got reincarnated as Yamcha. That exists. I can't believe that's a real thing sometimes.
That sounds like a nightmare. Could you imagine being reincarnated as Yamcha? Everything was going right for Yamcha up until Dragon Ball Z.
Until the Saiyan saga, yeah.
Then he was doing great. He had a girlfriend. He was like an upcoming baseball star.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got, then he started taking martial arts, and his life went downhill, didn't he?
I thought there was a chance for him to come back when he trained with King Kai. I thought all the other Z fighters are going to be on another level.
Even Chaozu is like taken steps forward. Instead of that, Yamcha's just now like, I'm just that guy. He should be the one with the New York accent. He's like, in fact, I think he did in the dub, didn't he?
I don't know. I wouldn't say he had an accent as such. Yeah, Yamcha.
Also, could you imagine how bad it must feel to be Yamcha, knowing that Bulma used to be your girlfriend, and now she's going out with someone who has tried to kill you so many times, and they're happily married, and she's just gotten richer and richer and richer.
Yeah,
and with the power of the Dragon Balls, she stayed the same age as well. Literally, like, imagine how it feels to be Yamcha.
It's sad to say, like, so many other Z fighters had like so many like views after. I don't know, like, I'm pretty sure in Super you find out that Tien opened like his own martial arts school and like all these other things, and of course like Piccolo does Piccolo stuff, and
Piccolo's like the best like godfather in the world, isn't he? He's out there like living his best life, looking after Pan and like teaching her martial arts in secret.
Exactly. What's Yamcha doing?
He's probably in a bar somewhere. Got his little cat friend. Little cat friends there, like, oh, you gotta get back. You can do this, and you can get your life back on track. And he's like, stop it, little voice.
Yeah, I think Yamcha needs to do some sort of like time travel story or something.
Okay, yeah, hear me out here.
Yeah.
Next, obviously, this is all headcanon because like it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But not in a canon way. But could you imagine if in the big tournament with Jiren and whatnot, I can't remember what it is called, the Tournament of Worlds or whatever it's called.
Power.
Tournament of Power, yeah. Could you imagine if there was a moment where something bad was happening in the real world while this tournament was happening, and there was an episode which was just like Yamcha saves the day, but then he walks away without ever getting any actual, like, no one knows.
Yeah, I love that. It's
like he has his like hero moment, and he's like humble about it.
Yeah, it kind of, there's like a filler arc. I don't know if you remember it, where Goku hasn't come back yet, so it's down to Gohan and Piccolo to stop Garlic Jr. And,
yes, the Garlic Jr. saga
and the spices and stuff. I loved it. I was really, like, oh my god, it was
great. I remember the Toonami advert.
Yeah, yeah, it is so good. But yeah, it's kind of that, isn't it? Like, everyone else is away. Who else is left to defend the Earth? And it's down to like,
yeah.
I
honestly, there's also the other part of me that's like, you know what a great pairing would be, and I don't know why it never happened. Is why did Yamcha never get paired up with like Mr. Saturn?
Yeah,
like him. Like, could you imagine Yamcha, Mr. Saturn, and Majin Buu? As like just like a trio, like they meet up and they like have like waffles and stuff.
It'd be like, have you ever seen that Lethal Weapon movie where it's
you mean Lethal Weapon?
Well, there's a whole series, isn't it? But there's one with it's not Danny DeVito, it's a smaller guy. But you have like, I'm just trying to think. You have like the two cops, so that would be your Mr. Saturn and your Yamcha, and then you've got like the yappy smaller guy who's kind of like the Majin Buu, who's like the third guy in that. Yeah, amazing. I love it.
That's how it should go. Obviously
Toei,
can't
what are
go
you
that way.
doing?
Come on.
Yeah. Toei, what are you doing? Like, finish Daima. Where's the Yamcha stories? We need
Yamcha.
them.
We need Yamcha. We need to know what happens to Yamcha. Either give him a peaceful send-off or do something with him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's just a human. He's got no Saiyan in his blood. He's not Namekin.
No.
He's not whatever, like, Tien is.
Tien's gonna Tien.
Chaozu is that you know what? This is just demonstrating that you can't really become a great fighter unless you're not human.
I don't know. Krillin's supposed to be like the strongest human now, isn't he?
Yeah, I forgot about Krillin, but like Krillin's biggest merit for me anyway is how above his weight he punched.
Agreed. Yeah.
You could argue like Videl, but Videl never got to like the sort of level of fighting that she was never like an equal with Gohan.
No,
But the fact that she could get as far as she could was always good. But
yeah,
I think Dragon Ball Z shows me pretty consistently, with Krillin being the exception, it seems, that being human seems to be a hindrance to being one of the strongest fighters in the world.
Yeah. No matter how much you train in the hyperbolic time chamber or one-on-one training with Kame,
you're not genetically predisposed to get stronger genetically every time you get your ass handed to you. And he got his ass handed. Man, if Yamcha was a Saiyan, he would have literally probably been as strong as some of the best because he got beaten up so much.
He'd be elite. He honestly would. But there you go. Another Yamcha rant for you guys.
Yamcha tangent. Yamgent.
Excellent. Housekeeping, before I forget, check out the Hashira Zane channel. Over there, I've covered the announcements for Viz Media as well as Yen Press. So a link will be in the description down below. And of course, you can check out clips of that on different social medias. Any final... I can't get my words out. You never believe I do this every now and again. Any final words from you?
You know what? I'll use my final words as a plug. Go and check out our friend Matt over on the MangaTak podcast. Great show. Gives like deep dives on like the first volumes of great manga titles. Gives his opinions, gives his analysis. Very good. Both you might see myself. You might see Zane over there. You know, we've got some hot takes as always. And maybe if you keep watching it, maybe one day I'll finally go on and do the Yakutaki Japan episode.
Ooh.
It's gonna happen one day, one of these days.
Be sure to subscribe to MangaTak. I'll definitely put a link in the description for that. I recently was on there to talk about Sakamoto, which was cool. So yeah, very deep dive, like you mentioned. Excellent. Listen, thanks for watching this on YouTube. And again, thank you for subscribing. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, again, thank you for the star ratings, the reviews. They help us out in a big, bad way, especially now we're on this journey to be number one. Don't know. Maybe I was going to do a little edit thing there of like plugging in a bit of Bleach, like, whoa, whoa.
Yes. That's exactly what I was hoping that was going through your mind then.
It was playing in my mind. But to get there, we need your help. So again, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. And again, we'll make the necessary choices. But in the interim, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.